Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we had reached the stage where we were speaking about the reason as to what happened when he reached the age of 7. لما بلغت سابعة من عمري أمرني أبي بالصلاة. His father instructed him with salah. So we're going to carry on from here inshallah. طيب. وكنت تعلمت كثيرا من الأدعية وحفظت سورا من القرآن الكريم من أمي. طيب. He says وكنت تعلمت كثيرا من الأدعية. He goes, I had learned many supplications, yani dua, and had memorized surahs from the Quran from my mother. طيب. Let's break it down. So now we know that kuntu, we can say. So first of all, let's look at kuntu. Kuntu ta'allamtu. It's a very, very important sort of structure here. It doesn't say kuntu ata'allamu as an example. There's a very big difference there, and I'm going to speak about that in a little while, about how this is a past and how this is a present, and how this is a past with a past and a present, a past with a present, and what the difference would be. طيب? Okay. First of all, kana. So we have here, which is very, very famous, kana yakunu. Kana yakunu. طيب. This is indicative of the past, and this is indicative of the present. Okay. Kana, it belongs to the group Kana wa akhawatuha. And what that means is that anytime Kana comes before a sentence, you're always going to either find ismu Kana, it has to be present, or it can be implied. Either way, it's going to be there. And a khabar kana. Okay, this is very important to understand. What do I mean by this? This will always be in a marfu state. And this will always be in a mansoob state. So let's go through an example before we get into it. For example, we can say kana الطالب كان الطالب Now, is it going to be fathatain or kasratain, or dammatain? What did we say? This here is the ismu kana. What's this going to be? This is going to be the khabru kana. What did I say the khabru kana is all the time? In the mansoob state. This is a khabar kana. طيب. What does the actual sentence mean? It says, the student was hardworking. The student was hardworking. Okay? The khabar here, this one here, it doesn't always have to be a single word, right? It doesn't always have to be a single word. It may be a complete jumlatul fi'liya as an example, right? And you're going to see exactly what I mean by now. Right. So what I said previously was, وَكُنْتُ تَعَلَّمْتُ. Kuntu means I was. So if we were to break that down even further, we can know that this ta here, which we said is the ta'ul fa'il, this is damirun muttasilun fi mahalli raf ismu kana. Right? This is the ismu kana. So what about the khabru kana? If we said that this is the ism kana, where is the khabru kana? Is it this, we have to look at the context. I said previously that khabar can also be a jumla, right? So the jumla here we can say here تعلمت كثيرا من الأدعية. That's a full jumla. جملة الفعلية. Right? This whole thing can also be broken down even further. I'm not going to do that though, because it'll just take too long. I don't have space. But this here, all this is the khabar of that. Right? وكنت تعلمت كثيرا من الأدعية. And I used to learn many from, not all, from the du'as, supplications. You see how the Arabic language is beautiful? Now, okay. Right. Now, getting a bit deeper as well, we can also say that what if he said I used to learn? What if I was to say I had learned? I used to learn, or I was learning, sorry. With kana, kana followed by a fi'l mudari', which is a present tense verb, we would say, for example, here in this case, we can say kuntu كنت كنت أتعلم كنت أتعلم ما العربية. طيب كنت أتعلم العربية. That basically indicates, we can say, I was learning Arabic. I was learning Arabic. We can also say, for example, كنت أقرأ كنت أقرأ كل يوم. I used to read every day. كنت أقرأ كل يوم. I used to read every day. But the original sentence that we had was كنت تعلمت. I had learned. Right? It basically indicates that the learning had already occurred before. It had already occurred before, at some point in the past. Right? Right. So this is the beauty of understanding this Arabic language in such a deep way, that a person can then look at the nuances as well, at the same time memorize many different contexts as well. So let's go through something else now. وكنت we've done. تعلمت comes from the verb تعلم. تعلم يتعلم sorry تعلم يتعلم تعلما, right? It's from the letters Ain, Lam, Mim, and it follows the pattern of what? Everyone should know their patterns. تفعل Oh, subhanallah, this pen. تفعل يتفعل يتفعل. Right? تفعل يتفعل. تعلم. Right? تعلم. Basically means to learn, to study. To learn, study, acquire, all the meanings are present. So here the ta'ul file وكنت تعلمت here. See that? تعلمت, I learned. تعلم means he learned. But here it means I learned. Yeah? It doesn't mean I was taught. And if people would think, how would I say that? We'd say علمت. I was taught. Right? And ta'allama, basically we can say that the person or the boy here in this case, often we can say with regards to this sort of pattern, is that he actively undertook the process of learning. Right? طيب. I hope you're writing all this down. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything for you. A lot of people say they want to learn Arabic. Well, you're getting this golden opportunity to learn for free. So inshallah, work hard. Bismillahir kareem. Alright, kathiran. What is this? What does that mean? Kathiran. What part of the sentence is it? تعلمت كثير من الأدعية means a large number or a lot. Say a lot. Right? The thing was learned a lot. So this here is the maf'ul of this sentence. It's not the khabar, it's the maf'ul of this fi'l. Right? تعلم. Okay? تعلمت أدعية كثيرة. I learned many supplication. Right. من الأدعية. So min here, remember, I've always said to you, always remember your huruf are very important. It means here from, and it also indicates that, like, basically a part of. So not all, part of, or some of, or from among. Let's say from among, right? From among the supplications, right? And the singular of ad'iyah, what is it? Everyone should know. Du'a. Right? Du'a, ad'iyah. Good. I hope this is making sense, inshallah ta'ala. طيب. Right, now the next part. وحفظت سورا. حفظت سورا من القرآن الكريم من أمي. Right. I memorized some surahs from the Quran from my mother. Or we can say, my mother taught me to memorize some surahs, right? That will be the natural one. But we're going to stick with my one, inshallah. Okay. Hafiztu, everyone knows. It's very famous. We can say it comes from the verb hafiza yahfazu hifzan. Hafiza. Hafiza yahfazu. يحفظ حفظا. Right? To memorize, to preserve, to safeguard, to protect, that kind of stuff, right? حفظت القرآن. Right? I memorized the Quran. We can also say, for example, let's write one example for you guys to memorize as well. Right? We can say, okay, we've done, okay, let's do, يحفظ الطالب. يحفظ الطالب الحديثة. Right? يحفظ الطالب الحديث. What does that mean? The student memorizes حديث. Right? يحفظ الطالب الحديث because it's a فعل مضارع. You see? It's a فعل مضارع. What's the مفعول? حديثة. This is the object. What is he memorizing? حديث. Who's doing the memorization? The fa'il. Who? الطالب. Right? That's how you should be thinking. Right? So حفظت, the tail fa'il is I memorized. I memorized. حفظ means he memorized. حفظت means I memorized. And the ta, can somebody do this for me? The fa'il. How do we do the i'rab of this? We would say ضمير متصل في محل رفع فاعل. Right? Get used to this terminology. Very, very important. Right. طيب. Okay, the singular صورا, we can say صورا. صورا. What's the singular? Easy. صورة. صورة. أي صورة? Plural is صور. 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 Right? The reason it's got this here, why is that there? صورا. Why is it that? The jama' is صور. Why is that there? Because that's the maf'ul, the object. That's why it's always mansoob. Alright? حفظت صورا. I memorized some surahs. Right. من القرآن الكريم. From, among, or from the Quran. من القرآن الكريم. Right? Now why, here's a good, nice little tip for you. Why is من القرآن الكريم, it's supposed to be من القرآن الكريم. Why is it من القرآن الكريم? Because this, al-Karim, noble, is the na'at of Quran. It's describing the Quran. So it has to match it in its grammatical cases. Right. Min ummi. From my mother. Meaning is that he learned or received these surahs from his mother. Okay? طيب. Min ummi. طيب. Right. Let's move on. وكانت أمي, my mother would. تتكلم معي, speak with me. كل ليلة, every night. عند المنام, at bedtime. فتقص علي قصص الأنبياء, and narrate and tell me stories of the prophets. Tell me stories of the prophets. Now why is this كانت? Why is this كانت? كانت is because feminine, right? And it refers to ummi. If it was kana, it would be male, or not female. كانت is always indicative of feminine, right? So we start off with كانت أمي. وكانت أمي. So for example, if I was to give you an example from this, just to solidify it, we can say كان أبي. What does that mean? أبي. كان أبي, my father, في البيت. كان أبي في البيت. My father was at home. If I was to change that around, how do I say my mother was at home? I would say, what would I say? I would say كانت أمي في البيت. Understand? Right. Okay, أمي, we know أمي. وكانت أمي تتكلم معي. So this is a very nice verb. to use تتقلم. تتقلم comes from تقلم. What is going on here? تكلم يتقلم 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 تكلم يتكلم تكلما means to speak or talk, right? So here it basically means تكلم means she speaks, because كانت, because it follows كانت, you see, right? Because it follows كانت, it's basically indicative of a repeated or habitual habit, right? Something that's ongoing. Okay? كانت أمي تتكلم معي. Right? كانت أمي تتكلم معي. So this is in the present, and this is in the past. This combined would make it something ongoing. مستمر. Alright? Little nuances there for you to learn, inshallah. وكانت أمي تتكلم معي. My mother used to speak with me. My mother would speak with me. Mar'i is basically, it's actually Mar'i. It is actually made up of ma'a, which means with, no, plus the ya, which is basically, we mentioned yesterday, me. Ma'i, with me. تتكلم معي. She used to speak with me. She speaks with me. She speaks with me. But because we now added the كانت, we'd say she would speak with me. She would talk with me. Right. كل ليلة. كل ليلة. نعم. كل ليلة. كل ليلة. I feel my handwriting's getting better on this now, inshallah. I'm getting used to it. Laylatin. Right. Now, why is this Laylatin here like this? Why is this here? Because of this. This is acting upon this. This is mudaf. Mudaf. And this is mudaf ilayh. Right? It's an idafa construction. So why does this kulla have a fatha? Why is it not kullu? Why is it not kulli? Anybody take a guess before I tell you? Because this is something called zarf zaman mansoob. Zarf zaman mansoob. Right? So kulla is zarf zaman mansoob bil fath wa huwa mudaf, and laylatin is mudaf ilayh majroob bil kasra. Right? I'm going to give you another example to solidify it, inshallah. Don't worry. Nothing to worry about. If, for example, I was to say to you, let me just get another color. أقرأ القرآن. أقرأ القرآن كل أقرأ القرآن كل يوم. Try to do the i'rab of that. I read the Quran every day. Try to do the i'rab of that. Right? أقرأ فعل فاعل القرآن مفعول به كل ظرف منصوب وهو مضاف إليه. Right? I read the Quran every day. طيب. Here again عند المنام at bedtime, or basically when it was time to sleep. This is also an idafa construction. We'd say this عند here is ظرف زمان منصوب وهو مضاف. المنامي is مضاف إليه مجرور. That's why you see it's there with a kasra, right? So this is acting upon this, and this is acting upon this. You see how the Arabic language is working? This is the reason how you learn tashkil as well. How to read it correctly. طيب. And so manam is interesting. We mentioned something yesterday regarding two lessons ago. Nama, yanamu, noman, wa manaman. Means it just basically means the time of sleep, right? فتقصص علي قصص الأنبياء. So the verb here is قص يقص يقص قصا. It means to narrate or to tell a story. So تقصص علي, she tells me, she narrates to me. فتقصص. See this fa again we mentioned? This fa here basically means as soon as he entered bed, she would narrate upon him a story of the Anbiya. So قص عليه. So for example, we can say using قص, we can say قص I don't know, قص على فلان, قص على فلان قصة. قصة, right? He told someone, قصة, he told, upon a person a story. A story, he told, right? Now this usually comes with ala, right? Right. طيب. So here علي doesn't really actually mean upon me because that's the English, right? But it's part of the expression. Basically, قص عليه, meaning he narrated to him. But this is upon me, to me, right? قصص الأنبياء or قصص الأنبياء, stories of the prophets, right? قصص الأنبياء. So if I was to say to you, فتقص علي قصص الأنبياء, where's the maf'ul? As an example, what's the object? What was narrated upon me? You would easily say قصص. There. That's the maf'ul. This is the object. These things, this is how you learn Arabic. This is how you try to now challenge yourself as to what's going on in a sentence, right? Okay? And why ask yourself, why is Anbiya'i? Why is it Anbiya'i? Because you know this is mudaf and this is mudaf ilayh. Okay? طيب. Last sentence for today, inshallah. وكنت أسمع, and I would listen. هذه القصص, these stories, بنشاط, with interest, ورغبة, and with, we can say, رغبة basically can say with total keenness to learn. تمام? Total keenness to learn. In Arabic we'd say بنشاط or بحماس, sorry, بحماس. طيب? So he would take a keen interest in listening to this. Right? So here we've done this construction. وكنت أسمع هذه القصص بنشاط ورغبة. Right? ورغبة. Okay? So I would listen to these stories with enthusiasm, with actively and with enthusiasm. Right? طيب. I hope you enjoyed that lesson today, inshallah. If there's any questions, inshallah, please leave them in the comment box, inshallah. Please subscribe if you've not subscribed before. It just helps with the channel and knows that, and it allows me to reach a wider audience, bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. If there's any improvements I can make, please write again. And I hope to see you for the next part of our chapter, our journey. Bi'ithnillahi ta'ala. I hope you've learned today the Arabic language. As we all learn the Arabic language, we should all thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for everything that we learn. Because at the end of the day, it's His fadl upon us that He has given us the time to sit down and try to learn the Arabic language for His sake, to understand the Quran, the Sunnah, and the books and the speech of the ulama. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.